Hello boxing fans, right now I'm going to talk about Marcus Maidana versus Keith Thurman, and this is a possible upset of the year, I think anyway. So let's look at Marcus Maidana. We've got 31 wins, 28 KOs to 3 losses. However, he's only fought once at 147 where this fight is taking place, and he lost that all 12 rounds to Devon Alexander. If now look at Keith Thurman, he's got 17 wins, 16 by way of knockout, undefeated. But his fights are pretty much a mixture of 154 and 147. This fight obviously happened at 147. Now naturally, at first look I thought, when I looked at this fight, and I've got a feeling everyone will agree with me right now on first look, that this looks like a Maidana KO. And it'll propel him to big and better things, you know, probably a title fight against Paulie Malignaggi. That's probably the one that Golden Boy are looking at with this one. That's what you think first time out, I think, anyway, okay? However, we're going to look deeper at Keith Thurman now. You see, the guy actually is 23 years old. He has 101 amateur victories, 76 of those by knockout. He won 6 national championships and only narrowly missed out on the US Olympic team. And now he is a professional, fighting between 154 and he's now moved down properly now to 147. He's got 17 wins, 16 like I said by knockout. I think it's very interesting when you take that into account. Also, this is another thing you've got to say, why would Golden Boy Promotions sell out on their hottest 147 pound prospect in favour of Maidana? It doesn't make sense. Maidana, yeah, he's 28 years old. Let's be perfectly honest, he's past his best, right? You know, he's won 4 in 6, right? Which could also be 3 in 3, depending on how you saw the Morales fight going. And he only does well when people stand in front of him, you know? In other words, stupid people. Okay, looking at the styles, we're looking stylistically at Maidana. He is a come forward slugger. You know, people say he's got like, you know, what did they say? He's got like method to it. He's got no method to his madness. You see, he comes forward. He used to be able to box apparently in the amateur career, but today he's totally forsaken boxing. He just walks forward, plodding forward, I should say, swinging wildly, hoping to connect with his power. He uses his power and pressure, and hopefully that can trouble and stop his opponents. You know, at 147 it didn't work against who did it not work against? Alexander. And you know, 140 he couldn't get calm with it. He just couldn't get calm with it. Kotelnik, he couldn't hit Kotelnik at all. Kotelnik beat him. People say it's controversial, but if you go out, you know, in Germany and you fight a guy who is basically very accurate with his punches, and you've got a guy who's come forward, he just throws loads of punches, and 1 or 2 of them are really good power shots. You know, you're not going to win. It's just not going to happen. You've got to really understand that. It wouldn't happen nowadays in the USA either. A lot of people get jobbed in the USA nowadays. When you compare that to Thurman, you know, with the 17 wins, 16 KOs, you'd think he was a slugger just on first look, but he is now. Checked him out on YouTube, and he's actually a boxer. He's very slick. He's slick as hell, to be honest. You know, he's a good puncher too. He's like a boxer puncher, but can move. He's more Canelo than Khan. So he's not a runner, but he can hit, and he's very systematic in his punch output. You know, he can move very well. I just want to point that out. He moves very well. You know, I think he'll be taking a lot of notes on how Devon Alexander and Amir Khan got the job done, and also probably less to do with how Morales survived the distance. Another thing I just want to point out is, to what point is Maidana overrated, or is he on the slide? You know, there's a lot of people who think stuff like that, and I think actually it's a bit of both. You know, Maidana is an early peaker. You see, oh, did everyone hear that thunder? Oh my days, that was loud, that, mate. Thunderstorm outside. The whole sky, the room I'm in now, just went black, and all of a sudden I just heard that thunder crack. My God. Yeah, Maidana's an early peaker. Basically, go back to your school age if you don't know what an early peaker is, right? Think about the 5 fittest girls in your year, and I guarantee 4 out of 5 are now fat, nasty looking, probably minging, right? And that's because they peaked too early, okay? They just peaked too early. Now if you go look at the mingers, you know, I've got a sneaking feeling maybe 2 out of 3 of them will have got drastically better. You know, obviously one's going to be like ugly to the bone, but 2 of them will have like got better because they just needed the hormone development. You know, their development wasn't complete when you were judging them. So if you listen to this, you don't understand what I'm saying. Be nice to the Mingers. So yeah, Maidana peaked around the Khan fight. You know, he's never been the same after that fight. Maybe Khan took it out of him. I don't think so. I just think that he put his all into that fight. He peaked at that fight, and afterwards he's never been able to recreate it. You see, Thurman, on the other hand, is yet to peak. He's 23 years old. He can get better and better with experience and general, growing as a boxer. He's pissing it down outside right now. Fuck my life. Got to go out soon and do some shopping. So when we're going into the advantages, the power, I'm not sure who this is with. Thurman hits at a higher weight limit, so is a natural 140-pound fighter, in Maidana, he's going to feel it twice as much. But we know Maidana can punch too, so I'm going to call the power equal. Speed, yeah, Thurman's got the speed. I've watched a few fights now, like on YouTube and stuff, but his speed is very, very good. Maidana's never been the fastest being in the pack. He just never has. Stamina is with Maidana. That's one thing you have to give to him. He's got very good stamina. He just keeps coming forward. And, this will be his biggest advantage going into this fight. The work rate also is with Maidana. High work rate. While Thurman works off the jab, Maidana keeps coming forward, throwing the wild punches. However, I've got to point this out, he does miss a good 60 or 70% of those punches. Boxing ability, Thurman by far. Thurman is a great boxer at only 23 years old, He's at least as good a boxer as Canelo or Khan, and he's young, right? He works very well off the jab. He works in hooks and counters off the jab, and he can also use the straight rights and the straight left hands. Add in the power that's with his punches, he's deadly, if to be countered by him, and that's something Maidana's going to have to look out for. The movement, Thurman has got much better movement than the plodding Maidana. You see, Maidana can cut off the ring very well. However, I've got a feeling Thurman could dance around Maidana for at least a good 6 or 7, maybe 8 of those rounds. You see, the only problem is what will happen when Maidana does catch up with him. That's one thing that's going to come in the next one, and that's chin. You see, Maidana, unfortunately, he has a warrior spirit with a suspect chin. He was dropped and hurt by Ortiz, hurt by Khan, rocked numerous times by Devon Alexander at 147, where this fight is going to happen. And now he's going in against the guy who is bigger, naturally bigger than Devon Alexander and Khan. He's got a better KO ratio than both of those guys. And Ortiz, right? Now, to me, if you've got a puncher who's going to box you, he's going to look for the openings, the good angles, right? And you get countered by him, and this guy's just coming forward recklessly. That's suicide to me, mate. I don't know what you guys are thinking, but that is suicide. You see, Thurman, however, on the other side, his chin is untested. We have yet to see what happens when a bomb lands on his chin. All we can do is speculate. So, I'm not going to say anything about the chin. All I'm saying is Maidana can be a bit suspect to body and chin. We don't know about Thurman. I can't really give you a judgment on that. So this is how I see the fight going, guys. You see, Thurman is going to box and move. That's what I think he's going to do. Or that's what he should do anyway. If he doesn't, I don't know how he's going to go for him. Maidana, who only does well, and you got to check his record for this, against people who stand in front of him. He's beat a lot of B and C level fighters by knockout, right? He's going to have to go on the hunt on this fight again, and every time he's gone on the hunt, he's come away with a loss most times. So 9 times out of 10, he's come out with a loss, right? If he cannot go forward, he cannot expect to drop the first few rounds. He's got to win at least 2 out of the first 6 rounds. You see, in the middle rounds, this is when Thurman's going to be most dangerous. You see, he's going to stop moving, and he's going to start to stand and deal with counters. You see, now Maidana is totally open, straight down the pipe, and obviously he's weak to the body. Now this is the flashpoint. Keith can stop Maidana if Maidana walks onto a hard counter to the head. There's also a chance Keith could drop into the body. You see, he doesn't like the body work, Maidana, like I said. If Maidana makes it through the first 6 rounds without being dropped, hit, or given away the full 6 rounds, then it's his fight on the home stretch. He should win the fight on the home stretch. Okay? However, I'm not sure that will happen. You see, Maidana could come on strong when Thurman slows down in later rounds, but can Keith survive the onslaught from Maidana in the final few? Once again, I don't know. But personally, I think he can. You see, I'm going to go with Keith Thurman winning this fight by either KO in the middle rounds or a unanimous decision. I'm sort of leaning to the KO. just because of his size and power advantage over Maidana. I said equal, but the guy, at a higher weight, he hit more than a guy from a lower weight. That's just my opinion. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get all the change in my pockets, put it all on my table, and then on the day of the fight I'm going to go down and I'm going to put it all on Keith Thurman to win the fight. And hopefully Maidana's going to be a heavy favourite, and then I can win some good money. Tell me what you think about this fight. Tell me what you think is going to win. And yeah, thanks.